Welcome in to the Hustle podcast. I'm Kelly Stewart with CT Bets. We're filming on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon because I had some technical issues, if you will, yesterday. So appreciate you guys hanging out with us here. We're going to pivot from what we normally do, where we recap what happened over the weekend. And instead, we're going to get into this weekend slate, maybe touch a little bit on Survivor. Chris and I are alive and well. And don't forget, every single Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, live on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. You can catch myself, Drew Martin Bets, Adam Trigger, and CT Bets. This week, Brian Power is going to be filling in for me because I have to go to a wedding.
And we know how much you love football season weddings, so you must be very excited about that.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm trying to cram 5 days worth of content into one day because I took Monday off because I was in Miami, then drove to Tampa for the game. Got to watch my Bucks trophy obliterate right in front of my eyes. Got rained on. Came home and had no water in my house. John Murray actually just accused me of not paying my water bill, and then it made me think for a brief second, and then I remember it was already back on. So I was like, that would have been very, very bad if I forgot to pay my water bill. And it's not because I went 0-4 on Saturday, I'll have you guys know. I still have a little bit of money to bet another weekend, contrary to what Twitter thinks. CT, really quickly, how was your weekend?
Weekend was pretty good, Cal, actually. 4-2 in college, and Sunday was okay. I mean, I had the Patriots. That was the winner. That was my best bet for Sunday. I was fortunate enough to be a part of the Saints. I had the Saints -1, and wow, that was terrible. You know, we saw what Green Bay did in the fourth quarter. They score 18 unanswered, and they somehow get that win. And I'm guilty, man. I had the Broncos as well. It was a terrible call. That team is in a lot of trouble. But overall, the weekend was great. And going back to Monday Night Football, started off the week great. I had Joe Cool and the Bengals, and that was a very nice way to start there. They played a great second half. So all is well here.
I guess I got to end on a high note. I had the Rams and a couple of teasers. Got very fortunate there from the gambling gods to catch those. So maybe I shouldn't be so negative. All right, we are going to talk some Survivor on that note, CT, just because I wanted to kind of hear Texans saved us, knocked out almost 3,000 people in the Circa Survivor. Cowboys lose as 12.5-point favorites. Ravens lose as 8-point favorites. So you and I are alive and well, and we're just going to go easy peasy. We're going to take the Niners. We saved them for this week for this very reason. But there are some injury concerns. Do you think that that's anything that we need to be aware of?
So, yeah, you texted me a little before we did this show, and you said, should we lock in Niners right now? I said, let's hold off and wait. We're probably going to take them. It's Wednesday, but I got a couple notifications saying that Debo and both Ayuk did not practice today, but you can't put too much stock into that, Kel, because today is Wednesday, and a lot of guys that are a little banged up don't practice on Wednesdays. They take an extra day, and we're going to see what happens on Thursday and Friday. My expectation is that both will probably be okay. Debo will definitely be okay. Not sure about Ayuk, but we just want to wait a couple extra days, a little precautionary before we jump the gun here. We looks like we're going to be with the Niners. Another game that we've talked about, and I think both of us are going to use, are the Chargers, because Jimmy G is still in protocol, concussion protocol. Shocker. It seems like he is always hurt. That's because he is. So they're going to have to go with either Brian Hoyer, who hasn't started a game in eons, or the rookie Aiden O'Connell out of Purdue. So Vegas is in a little bit of trouble here. And we saw Josh McDaniels, man, he just cannot get it together. We saw what he did on Sunday Night Football. You and I both had the Raiders. And, man, they did not look very good on Sunday night.
No, they did not. Jimmy G, 3. So maybe Brian Hoyer is a better option for that team. I doubt it. Aiden O'Connell would be the smart move. But as you mentioned, Josh McDaniels is an absolute utter bonehead. And that's why I'm terrified to take the Chargers, because I can't ask why Brandon Staley has a job and then turn around and bet him the following week. Pam and Ariel and I use the Niners Thursday, so that Chargers team is on my list. But I wanted to ask you, as my resident Patriots fan here, we know what Bill Belichick is capable of. I don't like this Patriot team. I bet their season win total under versus you and our little friend bet. But Bill Belichick versus Mike McCarthy. Cowboys off a loss. Maybe not so much of a bounce back spot here for the Cowboys. Do you have an opinion on that game and maybe burning the Cowboys in Survivor instead of saving them for Thanksgiving? Because they always lose on Thanksgiving.
I do have an opinion on it, Cal. I bet the Cowboys -6 right away, immediately, and I think it is going to be a nice win for the Cowboys, kind of get back right spot after that terrible loss to the Cardinals. That they got their early season embarrassment kind of out of the way. I think this is still a top 5-7 team in the NFL. Last week was a throwaway game for Dallas. I think they just slept on the Cards. And that's something you can't do in the NFL. And we see it from really good teams every single year, once or twice, Cal. So the Cowboys are not in trouble. They have a little, they're banged up on defense a little bit, no digs. So they're going to make adjustments there. Patriots, I don't know, man. They just own Zach Wilson and the Jets. That wasn't a very, very impressive win at all. They have to face Dallas at home, Dallas could score in bunches. They have weapons all over the field. The Patriots have no playmakers on offense, none, and that's what's going to cause them not to cover this game. I don't think it will get out of control, Cal, just because and you agree with me on this. They have a really good defense, and the defense will keep it, somewhat manageable for them to stay in this game, but I have Cowboys -10 here. That's what I made the game. So I fully expect them to win and cover this game.
Yeah, the only other team that I'm looking at here would be the Eagles versus the Commanders, but might want to be saving them for Christmas Day. It's kind of a tough week if you didn't save the Niners. So lots of touchdown-ish, because I think that's what Chargers are going to get close to, probably 6.5 here before it's all said and done. Obviously, the Eagles looked good against, teams like the Vikings. And as we just talked about, the Patriots spotted them, 16 points in that one, 17 points in that one. And then the Bucs, who offensively looked very inept on Monday night. So lots of decisions still to be made there for me and Ariel and Pam and Survivor, but I wanted to get your opinion. Again, Chris is going to give out a big game breakdown and best bet tomorrow night on The Hustle, WagerTalk YouTube channel, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, live on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. So let's talk Baylor. And I want to hear kind of a couple other games that you like for this week. Baylor, what do we do? Last week, you and I kind of touched on it. Is this a spot to take Baylor? Inevitably did not. But you think this week, headed into Orlando, might be the time to play on the Bears?
I do, Kel, and I haven't played the only time I played Baylor so far this year was week 2 versus Utah, and they got the cover there. Last week, you were trying to get me to talk you into taking Baylor, and I was like, I don't know, Kel, they are banged up. They got a lot of problems. I'm hearing really good things this week down in Waco right now. It looks like the starting quarterback, Blake Shapen, he's going to be back this weekend, as well as 6-7 other guys that they've been missing, including the running back, Dominic Richardson, the transfer from Oklahoma State. He ended up getting hurt in the first half last week versus Texas. He's a big part of their running game, and having him back is going to be great. The running game got shut down by Texas, and a lot of it had to do when Richardson got hurt, but they have a chance to get the ground and pound game back versus a UCFD that got shredded by your K-State Wildcats last weekend. Absolutely shredded. I'm not saying that Baylor's D is anything to write home about, but UCF has some problems on defense there. I think K-State gashed them for about 280 on the ground last week. I think everybody's going to be a lot more comfortable with Blake back under center. Baylor hasn't been full strength since week 1, and this is as close as they're gonna get to being fully healthy here. 7 guys back, some key corner with 3 cornerbacks last week versus Texas, and that was a big problem. They got a few linemen back as well. I think this line's out of control. I don't think that Central Florida should be laying 12 here to the Bears. I think this is an overreaction of kind of what we've saw from Baylor so far this year. And that's, losing to Texas State week 1 as a 25, 26-point favorite, kind of not really beating the bricks off Long Island week 2 or week 3. they played a really good, solid game week 2 versus Utah. They deserve to win that game, and I think that's the Baylor we're going to see this weekend. It's not obvious. I tweeted this play out last night because I got some. My buddies down in Waco told me all signs look that Blake is going to play this game. So I fully expect this to go 10 down to 10, 9.5 before kick. I wanted to get ahead of the curve here. I just think this is a little too much. And I think Aranda's team will be in this from start to finish, Kel.
Do you think Aranda's in the hot seat at this point in time? That's kind of where I'm looking at this one going, all right, he's 0-3 right now in FBS. As you mentioned, they have one win over Long Island. Tough loss and a game that they had Utah on the ropes. Your thoughts on hearing any of that kind of stuff in Waco?
He is absolutely on the hot seat. That's for sure. There's a lot of big time donors and people that are involved with the program that aren't very happy with him and Mac Rhodes, who's the AD down there. They wanted to do a blackout last Saturday versus Texas. They were getting a lot of pushback from the president, Linda Livingstone, and Mac Rhodes. A lot of people are saying that, what has changed here? They're kind of getting away from the football team and athletics. And there's a lot of people that have some big time dough, Kel, that care a lot about the football team that aren't happy with this. They want some changes and they're demanding changes. This is a big time game for Aranda. This is he really needs to get back together down there. And if not, he's going to be gone, because these people that spend a lot of money on the program, they're not going back to the 1990s where this Baylor program was before. They are not going to let that happen. That's what Baylor program was before Art Briles took over. It was in the shitter.
Oh, I remember. Baylor wasn't, it was like, they were like the KU of Texas. They were just the automatic, when they joined the Big 12, it was just like an automatic win on your schedule. And you're right, Art Briles definitely changed the culture down there in Waco. All right, let's pivot to a couple other games you tweeted out earlier this week. You want to break down a couple of those before we let you go?
Yeah, so I texted you and Joe Ranieri on Sunday while I was watching the 1:00 games, and I said, guys, the lines have come out for college, and you would be crazy not to take Iowa right now -7. That was crazy. FanDuel opened at -7, and I hopped right on it for the max, the limit that they would give me. And we're going to see a lot of Michigan State players opt out before this game on Saturday. Now, today it became official. Mel Tucker is done. Kel, you could play 4 games in college football without losing a year of eligibility. There's going to be, I heard, at least 20 to 25 kids, start 1s and 2s, that decide they're all done, they've had enough, and they're going to the portal, and they're going to save their year of eligibility. Now, with that being said, Cal, I still don't even think, even if these kids don't opt out, I think 7's a great number, and we saw what happened, right? So 7, I took -7. Circa opens at 8. In 2 seconds, it goes to 10. In literally less than 2 minutes, Circa made it 10. Now it sits at 12.5 pretty much across the board. I'm seeing some numbers have 13. I make this game 18. And I've heard, I have a lot of contacts down in Iowa, and they've told me that they are the most focused they've ever seen the Hawkeyes in years coming off that Penn State loss. Hell, I rewatched that game the other night. The score was a little deceiving. That was a 3-0 game late in the second quarter. Iowa made some pretty terrible mistakes. They muff a punt. They turn it over going in to take the lead. Iowa's going to be focused. That was a tough, that's a tough game to go to State College during the whiteout. I've been to those games. Kirk Ferentz is going to have this team ready to go. And this is the definition of a get right game, Cal, right? You get to play Michigan State at home, Sept, NBC. This place will be rocking. They know they need a big time win. And this is the best Iowa team I've seen in a few years here. So I fully expect them to get the win and the cover. I rebet -10 as well. So I've set -7, -10. If you're following me on Sunday, I told you to go get it at FanDuel. Hopefully you listened. The line's 12.5, 13 now.
All right, good stuff, Chris. Yeah, you did text me. I was scrambling, and I called Treg because he's in upstate New York. I'm like, hey, can you get? And it was gone. It was just gone, not even in existence. So it is unfortunate. I've only bet 2 games so far this week, Chris. I bet Syracuse plus the touchdown at home. I'm trying to decide if they can win outright. And I bet San Diego State plus 10.5 over Air Force. So last week,
Okay.
got lots of early bets in Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and it did not work out well for me. So this week I'm being very selective in what I'm doing, and kind of wanted to get your opinion on a couple more college games. There was one that was really interesting to me, Notre Dame, and I was trying to figure out, can I bet against Notre Dame again? I don't know if I can. I bet against them with NC State, and I just got smacked in the face. I don't know what to make of this team. I know they have a really solid defense, and Hartman is great. We've seen really good flashes of their offense, and then after what Ohio State did, really late touchdown, kick the PAT to get the push. Do they get up for this game? Duke, I think, has had this game circled. I thought they were going to have a flat spot last week against UConn. I tweeted out that I was tailing Brian Leonard after last call, and they just worked UConn, just worked them. And I thought, oh boy, what's going to happen next week? Is this like a trap game where this is going to be the dog with fleas?
They're really happy with Mike Elko down in Duke. He's done a really good job with this program. Like you said, the defense is great, and we saw that week 1 versus Clemson. I watched the whole Notre Dame Ohio State game. Right, I had Notre Dame plus 3.5 in my pocket. I did have some Notre Dame money line, so the last drive really, really stung. But Notre Dame deserved to win that game. There was a ND cornerback missed a interception wide open in his hands. That was game over there. A 3rd and 19, a huge Travion Henderson run. Man, Notre Dame had their chances there, and Ohio State, I give them credit. They were nails on that last drive. This is a game. I think Notre Dame is still in the hunt here, Kelly. I really do, especially with that game they played there versus the Buckeyes. That was tough. If they run the table, Marcus Freeman knows they're still in the hunt for this the college football playoff. This is the most wide open I've seen the playoff in a long time, right? Like Georgia's
then there we
struggling a
go.
little bit, right?
To end the
There's
show,
no
I want to know.
team. It's tough. It's really, really tough to say. There's no 4 teams that I can say is guaranteed to get
I'm making you give me 4 teams. Give me 4 teams. We're headed in at college football week 5. CT, as it stands today, who is your 4-team college football playoff? It's so hard.
I'm going to go Georgia. I'm going to go Michigan.
Okay.
I'm going to say Notre Dame. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Notre Dame.
Does the Pac-12 get snubbed? Does the Big 12 get in? Is Texas actually back? Like, I have so many questions. We know Clemson's out with their 2nd loss. They're not going to go to the ACC championship, right? Okay, so
they have to run the table. Probably not.
Florida State, are they going to get in? Okay, so that's your 4.
If Florida State runs the table and wins the ACC championship, I think they get in. I'll say Florida State is the 4th.
Florida State, Georgia, Michigan, Notre Dame. Interesting. Yeah, wow. This is tough. You're right. There is a lot of I haven't even mentioned maybe Washington out of the Pac-12 if they can beat USC. Penn State. Yep. Those are both the teams you and I have in our college football pool with Ralph. I did feel bad about Iowa getting the crap beat out of them last week, but then I was like, well, at least we got another easy win for the Nittany Lions. Yeah, you are absolutely right. This is a very wide open race right now. And usually we see 4 or 5 teams, but there might be 8 or 9 teams that have a really good shot here. Wow. Good stuff from CT Bets as always.
Kel, it's kind of a shame, right? And we're not Pac-12 people, you and I. We really don't give a shit about the Pac-12, but this is the best. This is probably the best conference right now, right? Overall, I mean, it's a kind of a shame because after this year or after this basketball season, there's going to be 2 teams left in the Pac-12. So
I mean,
it's a shame that they have to
Yeah, you and I took like one of the last picks. We took Cal, And the Cal Bears have been kind of like a surprise for us as far as the season win total bet goes. I was like, all right, let's take them. Maybe we can get 4 wins from them. This is scary, but we'll see what we got. You might be right. Top to bottom, Pac-12 looks good. Oregon State Friday night. Yes, they are finally in Pac-12 play, but I think they're going to give Utah a run for their money here at home. This is very interesting to say. On that note, CT, we have hit about 20 minutes. Anything you'd like to say before I close this one out?
Follow us and watch the hustle every Thursday night. We got a great show going, and football season has been really, really good to me so far this year, and I look to keep it going. And I know that you're going to turn things around and get hot because I've seen it before. So if you're not tuning in, you're going to miss out on some.
Absolutely. Every single Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, jump in the comment section, jump in with us if you have a question for the guys. Shout out to Brian Power, who's filling in for me tomorrow. Shout out to CT for being so flexible this week so that I could go to Monday Night Football and then, take a shower before I did the show. That's a whole nother joke in itself, but we made it. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. See you guys next week.